What's up, guys? Welcome to the tribal website guy, Indigenous Media, Indigenous Now. I'm your host, Robert Jacobo, and today we are at the San Manuel Pow Wow here in San Bernardino, California, here at the University of San Bernardino. And you know what? What we're gonna do, let's go see the grounds right now because it is amazing. We have so many different vendors here. We have so many different singers, so many different dancers, so many different groups that are actually gonna be here competing with each other, but at the same time, competing in the friendliest manner possible and making sure that the people that are the best in what they do are coming away with the win. But ultimately, we're here to share family, camaraderie, tradition, and lessons passed down from generation to generation to generation. So you guys, you know what? Come on, come with me. Let's go and follow me this way. And we can kind of see it from here. It's not necessarily the best view until we get ourselves up into those bleachers and going ahead and getting seated, which we will in just a few minutes. But this is the arena here. We also have tons and tons of merchandise going on. We also have an entire section that's actually down behind this area as well, where they're selling merch, they're passing out gear. And, just everybody's here. A lot of different native brands are here. They're representing themselves. They're representing their tribes, their traditions. And so it's really cool to be able to see everybody come out and actually represent. So if anything, guys, let's get out there. Let's meet up with some vendors and let's check this stuff out. Let's see if we can meet up with some vendors, see if we can meet up with some dancers, and see if anybody's got some words of wisdom that they want to pass on to the next generations to come. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the tribal website guy, Robert Jacobo, and I'm here with Eva today, and we're here at her booth at the San Manuel Indian Pow Wow out in San Bernardino, California. We're at the University of California, San Bernardino. And Eva, it's just amazing to see this stuff, and what really intrigued me and what really brought me to you was the fact that you're working on this stuff, handcrafting it yourself. And, that takes a lot of love, a lot of sweat, and a lot of hard work to put into this stuff. So can you tell me a little bit more about the stuff that you do and the baskets that you make in your business?
Okay. Oh, hi, my name is Eva Salazar. I'm a Kumeyaay Basket Maker. Yes, I can tell you a little bit about my work. I'm a basket maker for like more than 40 years. Well, 40 years, I'm 47, but I've been working on baskets for like 40 years. And then we make the junkets basket. That one take a while to make. We made it out of junkets grass, and then we collect the grass on full moon. We dry it for like 2-3 months, and then we split it, soak it in water. We dyed the black junkets. You can see, some of the black on the basket, and that one takes about another 3 or 4 months to dye it. Also, we make some of the willow basket here. Those miniature acorn storage. They used to make like a huge basket to collect the acorns. So now we just make the miniatures, but you can see it in the back. I have a little large one back there, the one my mom Eva Karina makes. So she's my mother, and I learned make baskets from my mom, and then also from my aunts and the clay dolls, cloth dolls, and then using the sumac, learning with other people. They already been passing away so many, some of my T-shirts. So I'm so proud of myself, still weaving, and then being teaching, for other Indian reservations in my community. So I'm so proud of myself, teaching my daughter, how to do the work. She's not even doing any weaving yet because for knife and all, it's like a little sharpening still. But I'm teaching her doing the little stuff like, hair stick, something, it's not hard for her. But one day she learned, maybe another year I'm going to start teaching her like I teach my son. Juan, he's 30 years old, but he's kind of lazy, he don't want to work that much. And then I teach him, how to do the gourd. I just make this gourd right now. Today I broke it, but I fixed it already. So I've been fixing this little tiny basket here. You can tell, those make my little kids between 10 and 12 years old.
Wow.
So I've been working on it and trying to fix it. And this is another one. So I'm trying to fix it, to make it better. So this is, that makes me so proud, little kids have been learning to,
And you teach the
making.
little
But
kids?
I teach the little kids. I've been teaching, like most of South, like Verona, Sequan, Viejas, like all the Kumeyays. Sometimes I came up north and teach, so I'm
That's
so
amazing.
proud of myself and so proud to be teaching weaving, for a long time. People look like I'm thinking myself like, for so long I'm been teaching, basket. I never been getting on trouble with people, anything, People call me and people meet me. Oh, I want you basket. Oh, I want you to be teaching basket. So I'm so proud of myself, continuing, doing this.
Right.
I mean, forever. I help, living for 90 years. I help. I'm trying.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the best part is that you're giving back to the next generation. You're
Yeah.
teaching the kids and you're letting them know how important this stuff is, especially the way that you described it, going out on the full moon,
Yeah.
getting the straw and being able to, dry it out for 2 or 3 months, and then, getting everything lined up in a very traditional way, kind of really observing protocol
Yeah.
for the most part, right?
Yeah.
And just kind of like really weaving that just like you weave your baskets, you're weaving the culture into the work that you're doing. It's not just you go buy and resell.
No.
No, this is all handmade.
This is all
you.
handmade, traditional, and then the time you take to do all this. Some basket take between 9 months, 10 months, all depend on the process. Like me, take almost forever because I have my work. So between that, I do weaving. So, but every day I weave. 2-3 hours. Then I don't have work all day long. When I'm not used to working, so it's like I used to put like 11 hours on my basket every day. So, but I have between my work and then weaving, so it's like I have both of them. So I really enjoy weaving because it's like you really like take all your stress off. You forget about everything, and then you're very focused weaving on your basket. So like I really love it. So it's one of my things to do and relaxing. For me, it's relaxing.
Right, it keeps you present. It's like meditation for you. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And then not only that, but something that you're able to meditate with. You're able to share that with the kids. You're able to share that with everybody here at the powwow. And then, like I said, I got to see you actually doing the work. That's what really drew me to you, was the fact that all of this stuff is handmade and you're sitting here doing the work and showing the fact that you're doing the work. So I really appreciate the fact that you're doing this and you're sharing it with the youth as well and bringing them up and teaching them.
Yeah, like here today, it's so hot, but it's no matter. It's like I'm very, weaving my baskets. I'm so focused on it, so it's like I'm not sleeping. It's like, okay, keep going. And I keep looking around, and some people's been sleeping because just been sitting there,
Yeah.
So like I'm like keep working. It's like, okay.
So because you teach the youth so much, what is something that you would like the youth to know? Like, what is something that you can tell the youth?
Can tell the youth, I think they gotta be in focus more, like getting together more with older people, because we mostly learn from older people. Like all the youth, like youngest kids, mostly it's like just cell phone, and they like to be party. The only thing they just, well, for the people they have money, the only thing and the first thing is like cell phone, cars, and some. Sorry about that, but I'm gonna say like drugs. So I think parents, they need to be like more care about their kids, and take it to more to this area, where they have native people,
Yeah.
So that way they can learn a little bit about how native work, and then like traditional things, like more of the native fiesta, the local fiesta, and then so it's what I'm thinking, is I think the kids are going to be learning, and then maybe they find some relatives. We never know.
Right.
We never know. I see some people, and some kids, they come to you and they say, oh, they start talking, and for me, like teaching them, like, oh, like this and whatever, and the basket. But not many people, they come to me, young kids, not many young kids come to me, and then they start talking to me about, basket, or like old ways. And it's weird when somebody comes to me and say, oh, I would like to know this, and oh, I like to record this, how to make the willow basket, what they make, about like the willow houses and then what kind of wood they use. Is I mean, for me that one, telling them what they use is like perfect. How the youth can learn.
Right. And so, being that, these generations, a lot of people are on their phones and stuff like that. Do you have social media and a website or anything like that that
No.
you guys do? Or it's just all
No,
in person?
just yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I just got invited and I just show up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, to everybody that's, coming out to the powwows and stuff like that, make sure you come to Eva and check out all of this stuff here, because it's amazing. Eva, what's the name of your business? Or you just go by
We call it Kumeyaay Basket.
Kumeyaay Basket?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Kumeyaay
I'm gonna check out
Baskets.
Kumeyaay Basket.
619-438-2289 is anybody like to get that number. And then I have my card here. If they like,
Perfect.
when they can call or order something
Perfect.
by email or whatever.
We'll definitely get that on there as well.
Okay.
So, thank you so much.
You're
Eva,
welcome.
For, just spending some time with us, explaining the baskets, and really kind of explaining the fact of how much work that you put into it, and how much protocol really goes into it, and just the amount of just tradition that you bring forward to it as well. I really appreciate that as a young Native guy, and somebody that's also reconnecting even with my own culture and just seeing how much culture plays a huge part into what you're doing. And I can't wait to even get your story out there so that way other people get to experience your story as well.
Yeah, I have long stories, from like when I was young. I remember my daughter, sometimes she asked me when we go to sleep, "Oh, Mom, can you tell me the story?" And I start telling like story by story. And I say, okay, I have so many stories when I was little, but I can tell you one short one. So it's like she falls asleep. I hope she learns a little when she gets a little bigger and she say, "Oh, I learned this from my mom." I remember when my mom, she told me stories, They're going to remember that. I hope.
Yeah, I'm sure she will.
Yeah.
And I'm sure some of those stories are some of the best stories that she's heard.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you again, Eva.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it.
Okay.
Yes.
Have a wonderful afternoon.
You too.
Okay.
All right, guys. Tribal website guy here, Robert. I'm here with Karina, and we are here at California Native Glass. And Karina, this stuff looks amazing. You were just telling us a little bit earlier how intricate it is, working with the kiln, getting these things. There's so much detail in a lot of this stuff. And it's just so amazing that you're the one doing this. It's not just reproduced and resold or bought wholesale and resold. This is all handmade by you.
It is all handmade. It takes me a long time to do it. And for the precision, the designs, I can't take that much credit for because they're traditional basket designs.
Okay.
So a lot of these, they're hundreds, if not thousands of years old. So when I was making the glass, I really wanted to honor our basket designs. And it's not the fastest process to do that, but like I say, it's as accurate as I can get to the source material, which is our gorgeous baskets.
Right.
So that's why I keep the precision so tight on those. Because if you see some of our baskets, it's amazing what people are able to weave.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've actually ran into some basket makers a little bit here, and some of those baskets are definitely some intricate designs, and especially when they put together the protocol and the traditions behind them, you can definitely see it. But what inspired you to start this up as far as a business-wise?
It was a process. For a long time, it was a hobby. I learned how to do stained glass when I was 13 years old and from an art teacher. And then my mom was working with what's called torch glass.
Okay.
So she learned one type of glass and I learned another. And it really took both of our skills to try and make this work. So I sell it full time. My mom is pretty much retiring at this point. But it was a collaboration between me and my mom to do this.
And you were saying earlier you attend multiple shows. How many shows again?
At least 30, if not more. So like next weekend I'm doing 2 shows in a row. Is on Friday I'll be in Sacramento, and then on Saturday I'll be in Oakland.
And that's a lot of dedication because honestly, I mean, when I when I move from one apartment or one house to another, and I'm trying to move glass, like that's the most dreaded thing I could think of. So you doing 30 shows a year?
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, and I go all the way out to Santa Fe, New Mexico for Santa Fe Indian Market. I've gone to Tulsa, Oklahoma for Cherokee Art Market, and I can't ship this. I can't fly with this.
Right.
So I have to drive because it's heavy and it's fragile. So for all these events that I do, I have to drive there.
That's incredible. So not only are you getting the amount of work that goes into actually creating the glass itself, but also to your effort, your time, your driving. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, I know long range driving, and it's tiring.
It can be. It's kind of my time I get to relax in some ways, though. I mean, not in traffic.
Yeah.
But when I'm doing this all the time, I'm staying busy. So when I'm driving, I actually get to like listen to a book on tape and just kind of see the sights. So my driving is a little bit my relaxing.
Nice.
Not when it's 16 hours, but like 5-6 hours, that's fine.
So another thing that I always like to point out too is that, I mean, you kind of pointed out earlier, you started this when you were 13 years old.
Did.
And so I always like to reach out to the younger generations, the youth that are coming up, and I like to leave them with some inspiring words, especially from entrepreneurs and business owners such as yourself and artists such as yourself. I want to know, what is it that you would like to kind of inspire the youth? What are the words that you have for the youth?
It is so fulfilling to be able to have an image in your mind and work on the skills to make that a physical object. And I've taught classes, I've taught youth, I've taught older people, and it's a process. You're not perfect at first, but if you just keep at it, you can do some really amazing stuff. And especially for Native American kids, like our art is not well represented out in the world. And so the more you can get our own stories out there instead of what somebody appropriates, it is so important to share what's real.
Right.
And so I do a lot of art shows that aren't just Native American events, and I may be the only California Native that anybody interacts with. So I do a lot of educating, but at the same time I get to put real California Native pieces out there that a lot of people have no idea what it is. So I think it's really important that people know that we're still here. So with young artists especially, it's like you've got a voice, and it's really easy to stay quiet. It's harder to get out there and do it, but what you do is important.
Right, and what you do, especially yourself, inspiring people through your actions, right, and putting that out there. It's not just a product, it's a story. There's a story behind each one of these pieces, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Each laborious hour that you have putting into it, and it's just like the amount of jokes or the amount of late nights and the things that you experience. I can only imagine the stuff that you get to experience while doing your art.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really important for connecting with, even within my own tribe, because me and my mom, we've always been family, but we're just one of the tribe, and as we've done this and people recognize it, we've been known as the glass ladies in our tribe, and our tribe now is buying pieces from us to give as elder gifts. And to me, that's a really high honor.
That is definitely a high honor.
They think our stuff is so beautiful that they want to give it to even the elders. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I really, that's come about in the last couple of years, and
That's
it's been awesome.
huge. That is
huge, yeah.
that is definitely a high honor, and I gotta say much respect to you for that, because when you're giving something to an elder as a gift, I mean, there's almost no higher honor than that.
It was a little nerve-wracking at first because I didn't want to offend anybody, and like some of our basket designs, they come from some families' individual baskets. So I didn't want to step on any toes using certain designs. So we got permission to be able to do that, because this is not a traditional material.
Yeah.
So when my mom and I first started, we went to the the older elders and asked, it's like, are people okay if we do this? Because it's traditional designs and a not traditional material.
Right.
So they gave us permission. They were a little hesitant at first, but then, like I say, over the last couple of years now, like we've been honored by having it go to elders, having it go to within the tribe. So I'm so appreciative of that interaction.
So really quick for the youth, right? How do they approach that, right? So protocol and permission, those things are huge when it comes to, even for us, like just, we always like to ask before we film or anything like that. How, as a youth, could they not feel so afraid, right? Because that's one of the biggest things, that they probably feel a little bit afraid or intimidated. How do you overcome that?
It is intimidating, but that's part of what bravery is. It's like, even when you know something is scary, you do it anyways. And I didn't do it all at once. There's little baby steps here and there. It didn't come like all of a sudden I'm at Santa Fe Indian Market.
Right.
There was definitely things that were failures or learning experiences. But when I was approaching the elders, like my mom, she was much more connected. And so she was the one who talked to people over time. And then when people saw what we were doing, instead of just telling them about it, but actually bringing an object to them so that they could see what we were talking about, that made a world of difference.
Right.
Because when you tell somebody, it's like, oh, I want to do basket designs in glass, it's kind of like, well, what is that? That's not traditional.
Yeah.
But when we made it and we took it to people, they said, oh, that's really neat. That's a whole different way of doing something. And so I think if somebody's going out there and they're starting from scratch, make the thing, try and make it look as good as you possibly can, and you just gotta find the strength to go and talk to people. And it helps to start with family, of course.
It does. It does help to start with family in most cases. And so I'm really glad that you're able to do this. I'm really glad that you're able to follow protocol and asking for permission, and permission was granted, and you're able to create these beautiful pieces. Now, for the tribal community in general, kind of a last words for the most part, what would you like to kind of impart on the tribal community or just the communities in general, just kind of based off your experiences and your wisdom thus far?
It's hard to come up with something like that on the fly. Like I say, it wasn't something that happened overnight. I learned at 13. It was a hobby. I didn't do it full time. It wasn't a straightforward path, but it was something that we just did little things over time, and eventually you get there. And I'm not saying that like I'm a world famous artist at all, because I'm not, but everything comes in increments, and sometimes things just, when you start putting your foot forward, you get places you never expected that are really awesome. Like when I started doing it, I never expected to show at Santa Fe. I never expected to show at the Heard Museum and all these places. So it just took doing things in little steps to eventually get to some of that.
That's so cool. And so through perseverance, through persistence, through resilience, you get to see, Karina, your mom as well, being able to come together with the community. And really quick, Karina, what was the name of your tribe?
So I am a mix of Yurok, Hoopa, Cherokee, and then my dad's side is Danish.
Okay.
So the Yurok and Hoopa were Northern California on the Klamath River.
Okay. And that was a huge one too. I'll talk to you about that in a little bit, because I like fishing. So anyways, but through all this perseverance and through the persistence, you have such beautiful work. And I just want to say thank you again for allowing us to interview you, allowing us to be a part of this as, a part of your journey. And just want to say thank you for putting this out there and allowing the rest of the world to experience your artwork. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, Karina, where can we find you with social media and stuff?
So my business is CaliforniaNativeGlass.com, and I'm on Etsy, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, but everything is California Native Glass.
Perfect. Well, you guys get online, look up California Native Glass. Make sure you're following on Facebook, on Instagram, on any of the socials as possible. And then also, too, we can go over here, CaliforniaNativeGlass.com, Facebook and Instagram, California Native Glass. You want to get her on Etsy, you got Cali Native Glass. Remember, get on there, make sure that you guys are getting out there, supporting Indigenous artists, supporting Indigenous ideas, and supporting the traditions that allow for these artists to continue to keep thriving. So until next time, guys, thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am here with Michael Toya here at the San Manuel Pow Wow 2025. Michael, your work, I mean, I walked past it, immediately captured my eye, some of this work. You got the Star Wars stuff going on. You got the Air Jordans going on. A lot of stuff based off of ledger art and stuff from what I'm seeing. Obviously correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that we've seen some of your stuff even in like some of the museums and stuff. I believe we were in Washington, D.C., right? And we were wondering if we had seen some of your work out that way. But man, I really want to know more about your story because this ledger art and stuff is amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you for, this interview. I drove out here about 11 hours to showcase my work. I've been showcasing my work here for the powwow about 3 or 4 years now. And I love it, I enjoy it. I'm getting good feedback. The art is definitely appealing to people. I also do t-shirt designs, but it's this passion for art and the type of art that I do just comes from within. My heart. I was able to come from a family of artists and was self-taught, and just to see my father, my aunts and uncles create beautiful pieces inspired me as a young kid to pursue this dream of just creating art and sharing it with other people, and traveling and honestly making a living out of it is what my goals are, and so far it's been great. I come from a culture that's really strict and full of life, full of power. It's because it's a lot of our culture is ours, for ours to keep and not to share with the world. That's what keeps us strong, keeps us alive. And whereas some other cultures, they get to show and replicate certain ideas from their tribe, which is kind of taboo for me. So in that sense, it's a little harder for me to be creative and to come up with my own interpretation. So that way, I'm not stepping on anybody's shoes, And it's rough sometimes, but I'm out here to educate the people about how different tribes are, to break stereotypes but to do it in a respectful way,
Right.
Yeah. And so I enjoy it. I love it,
Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest things, right, especially talking to that piece of, showcasing how different tribes can be, one of the biggest things for me was when they ask you, what are you? And they'll have like Hispanic, white, Caucasian, all kinds of different things. And they'll just be like American Indian. And it's like, man, just federally recognized. I think there's like 578 federally recognized tribes.
Sure.
That's not even counting the ones that are not federally recognized and not even recognized at all. So to have over 500, 600, countless numbers of tribes out there to just pencil it into one box
Sure.
is like a travesty. So
Yeah.
to have a person like yourself being able to showcase that, and tell me more about that journey as far as, breaking that stereotype of, it only being one.
Yeah, obviously you get a lot of social media and input there, but like I said, for me, I was raised by grandparents, and they're really strict, and they just taught us to be who we are and to showcase it, and honestly, it's just not it's to have no fear, to go out there and be proud of who you are, whether you have long hair, whether you have short hair, whether your skin is light or dark,
Right.
and but I'll allow that. I kind of put into my work, and I speak to my work, and it's such a good feeling, to be able to be that talented and to not get it from a school or institution. It's all within me, and I just let it out.
Right. And so I always like to speak to the youth, right? I always like to look at them and say, inspiring words just to help lift them up, because we've all been youth and we've all had ideas, and we've all had our ideas at some point in time just crushed, right? And then it's like, how do we rebuild ourselves, or how do we keep pushing forward? What's the message that you have for the youth as far as being an artist yourself and pushing through any of the challenges and hardships that you've had gone through? What's the message that you have for the youth?
Honestly, I would say don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, like if you're stuck an idea, or you just don't know which route to take, ask an elder, ask someone who cares, you know. And when you don't do that, you remain stuck, and you know what could have been something more special, only if you just asked for help. And I noticed that in my own kids. Sometimes, you know, it's hard for them to ask for help, or they don't want to, or they're afraid to, you know, especially with school, not just with art, with schooling, with everyday life, you know. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And that's my one if I can give one, you know, a piece of advice to the youth, because without art, that's how they grow, that's how they learn, with help, with us teaching them, you know. And it's unfortunate that a lot of kids don't have their parents to help them, you know, or have a strong upbringing. And I don't know. I just come from, like I said, I come from a rough background. My grandparents raised me, and my two younger brothers. But that's in the past, and I've learned so much from them. And I just wish that I could see them in person and tell them how thankful I am of what they did for me. And I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for them. So that's my piece of advice. Is just don't be afraid to ask your elders for help, and ask for teachings, you know.
Right.
Because a lot of that sometimes it's going away, it's being erased, and just I don't know from whatever reasons, we're losing our culture, losing our language. And as a matter of fact, after this show, I got to pack up and head home, because we're having one of our traditional dances up in back home. My wife is from the Pueblo de Isleta, so we hold that very, you know, it's a very high regard, and we want to keep it going, so that way our people can be happy and excited and full of tradition. You know, that's the only way we can carry it on.
Right.
Is to carry on these dances.
Right. And speaking of, you know, tribes being individual and stuff and having their own individual culture, what tribe are you from?
I'm from, so in New Mexico, there are 19 pueblos, and I belong to a few of them. I was raised on the Jemez Pueblo Reservation, which is an hour outside of Albuquerque. And then my grandmother was from Acoma Pueblo. My dad his father was from Navajo, so that's a whole totally different culture. So I guess you can say I'm a Heinz 57. I'm just
Heinz
mixed.
57, there we go. But you know, at the same time, you're able to showcase those individualities from those different reservations, different pueblos,
Sure.
different tribes, different cultures. And so that's amazing, man. I really appreciate the fact that you're able to stand here with me and then, you know, just explain, you know, the back end of your work, the inspiration, the culture side of it.
Sure.
And like, that's really important, right? And especially when it comes to showcasing that individuality.
Sure.
So really quick, couple of things before we head out.
Sure.
Where can people find you as far as online or on social media or anything like that? Where can they find you if you had a
They can find me on Instagram at Toya Michael. That's my last name, first name, TOYAMICHAEL at Instagram. And that's one of my biggest social media network plugs, where you can interact with me, send me messages, and so on and so forth. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then the second thing I wanted to do is I wanted to ask you about this piece.
Sure.
And just kind of wanted you to explain to me what was going on in your mind, or what was it that brought this piece out?
So this first idea came about last year for this powwow. I just had this one day. I had this idea I was thinking about pop art, contemporary art, you know, and I had this idea of the first retro Jordan with just like as a bouquet of flowers coming out of the shoe, you know, and I was like, all right, I'll do that. So I kind of sketched it out, drew everything, and then it just, I don't know, it's just a crazy wild idea, you know, that came about. And then I go and stylize it with the contemporary designs of the Pueblo deities, and like the rain clouds or the lightning bolts, just to give it a little extra flair. And I call the little grasshoppers that you see here, my little gems. Sometimes you'll be looking at a piece and you're like, oh look, there's a grasshopper there or there. I call them my little gems, so I'd like to throw those in there. Just the icing on the cake, you know, type thing.
That's really cool too, because especially with the Air Jordan when they first came out with it, I mean, if it wasn't for such a remarkable player, they would have never had that in the first place, right?
Right.
And now we have such a remarkable native artist being able to showcase this birth of life, these little gems that are all over the place, and doing it in a way that honors the culture and the tradition while being on ledger art. That's awesome.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. So thank you again for, you know, having this little flash interview with us.
Sure.
I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your words for the youth and letting them know not to be scared, to be able to talk to their elders, talk to the people that are ahead and the leaders that are there, so that way they can become the next leaders.
That's
as
right.
we get older and we start to, become elders ourselves.
Because sometimes we forget to, sometimes we just forget we're in the moment, we forget our teachings that we need to teach our youth. And so in turn, that's my point, is like, come to them and ask them, for advice, and keep asking questions, That's how you learn. So
that's how you learn, man. Well, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate it. And you guys, when you have a chance, check out Michael Toya's art, on Instagram. Toya Michael, right? Toya Michael on Instagram. Check him out. Send him a DM. He's going to respond, and make sure that you guys get a chance to check out the art. And also make a purchase, as it's going to go ahead and boost his presence in the Indian country, as well as just in the art world in general. So thanks again, Michael. I really appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Tribal Website Guy here with Shannon from Born of Legends. That is Born of Legends. One coolest business card I think I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's small, but it's mighty. This thing's got a QR code. Got all the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, everything on there, right? But what I really want to know, Shannon, is, what started this all? Like, where did you come from for the most part? Like, where did it start? Where was the inspiration behind Born of Legends? Tell me about your story.
Oh gosh, I started probably 7 or 8 years ago. I want to say 8 years ago, where I didn't see like a lot of like our Indian humor in a lot of things. It was more like real protest oriented or like gangster thuggish. So I was like, well, I want to do something funny, because I've always had a little knack for native humor. But so I asked a lot of friends. I just kind of ran it by them. What do you think of me doing this? And they're like, oh, that sounds fun. Just kind of pushed me along. So I said, all right, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
So I started doing it. I did the first powwow I did. I'd had like one table, had like a little random amount of sizes and whatnot, and I always got a lot of good comments back, so I just continued to do it, and I just continued to grow, and I was like, I want to do this, I want to do that, so I just keep getting ideas and going with it. So it's been rewarding for me, because I get to talk to my people and visit with my people from all over the place, and it just like, it feeds my soul to like acknowledge my people and them seeing my stuff and being like, wow, hey, you see us.
Right.
And wow, look at us represented out here in like modern, contemporary ways.
In a modern and fun way too, right? I mean, like for myself, and I made a video about this earlier where I'm like, man, it is hot. My face is all greasy. I'm wearing the Greasy Face Club. I got my buffalo hair going on right now, able to keep me, just sheltered for the most part.
Yeah.
But I love this hat, actually. So, like, what's funny is I got this hat. Well, when was it? It was back in July, right?
Yeah, in Reno.
I have to say, I have more videos with this hat on than any other hat. And this is like one of my favorite hats. I fish with it all the time.
Nice.
It's out in the sun, as you can see too. I mean, it's starting to fade a little bit.
It's getting a little tormented.
But I mean, like, it's so funny because that's the stuff that we grew up on, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, it's just funny. It's, you're eating a whole big old plate of fry bread. It's hot outside. You got greasy face going all over the place, and it's just fun to be able to see that stuff. I mean, even going back to movies like Smoke Signals, right? You have fry bread power on the t-shirt and stuff like that, right?
Greasy Face
Hey
Club.
Victor and stuff like that. So it's always fun when you're hanging out with other cousins or other friends or aunties, uncles, and it's just a lot of like fun and games and laughter, especially around like, the campfire at night, or like in the backyard with the old coffee that's sitting on the side of the chair and stuff. So tell me more about your upbringing. Like, what is it that was so funny that kind of like just was like bursting out that you're like, I got to put this stuff on stuff?
I don't know. I've been kind of a funny person all my life, and just like laughing and talking with people, and then I got into like graphic arts, and so it's just been something that's just kind of clicked all the way, and I just keep going with it. And I don't know, I just like relating to our people and letting them see their voice out in the world, in the public, and just like what it is, like that one, the berry picker one. I don't know if you can probably see it. Yeah.
The berry picker. So what inspired this one?
Just because I like the berry picker word.
Yeah.
And then like, we're with a bear makes it funny because it's like, you think of a berry picker, somebody's like sitting there, but like these powerful bears are also berry pickers. So
Yeah.
it makes it a very strong message that, it's good for you, even like that kind of little healthy stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. And then on top of that too, what I've noticed, Shannon, is you're a staple at a lot of these events. Like you're here, you're doing the work, you're putting in the work. And so as a native entrepreneur yourself, right, as a business owner yourself, what are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome?
Oh, it's a lot of work, like you said. I mean, I make it look easy because I'm just like out here, like, and I show just the positive things, but it's like a lot of work. I'm working day and night because I also work at a print shop. My 9 to 5 is, doing artwork for local events and businesses, and then I do this in the evening and the weekends. So it's a lot of work, but like I said, it's rewarding to me just to feel like the love from the people, and that's what makes it worth it. And then of course you make a little extra money, so
Yeah.
and that's what's kind of kept me going. It's just doing that. It keeps me busy too.
Yeah. And so I always like to kind of like wrap some of this stuff up, especially being at these events where you see a lot of Native youth and they have ideas in their head and they're just like, I want to do this or I want to do that. Because especially growing up, right, I got to see a lot of powwows and stuff. I got to see a lot of Native dancers, a lot of drummers, and like a lot of bird singers and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh man, I'm not fully connected. Yes, it's a part of my culture, but I'm not going to be the guy that's in the middle of the arena.
Yeah.
But I related to a lot more about being out here, the vendor spaces, like the people selling stuff and things like that, and the business culture, the economic development side of things, right? So what do you have to say to the youth that are just starting out or that are wanting to start a business?
Just go for it. If you have an idea, just do it and put it out there and see what happens. And like I'm always here to help people. I've always said, if you need help digitizing or creating artwork, I will be here to help you, and we can move it forward with whatever like I can do because I have my graphic design background. So like I always just support our youth and try to just encourage them. And I would just say that the support is out there also from the community. They see you doing something different and they'll support you.
Right.
If it's something good, yeah. So it's there.
Well, you've heard it over here with Shannon, born of legends, started up a business based out of Native humor and being able to represent this Native humor and being an entrepreneur that's not afraid to face the challenges. And I'm really happy that you're here. I'm really happy that I got to meet you at the ITCN conference. Yeah. And I'm really happy that you sold me this hat. I mean, literally, I've been wearing this hat all over the place and I love it. Just because it speaks so much to just my background, my childhood and stuff like that too. And I can relate so much to it. Like you were saying, this stuff is all relative. Mm-hmm. And so I really want to say thank you for, championing this, because without this type of stuff too, other stuff doesn't get to exist. And, other inspirational individuals that are coming up, behind us, right, behind yourself, don't possibly get to exist because maybe they didn't see you if you weren't here.
Yeah.
Right. So I really appreciate it. I wanted to come in for a hug. I love it. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
And thank you also for letting me know when all these things are going on, because you're a person that's been in my DMs and has been like, hey, these are not in that way.
Not in an informative way.
No, but always letting me know these are the powwows, these are the things to go to, hitting me up and letting me know like this is a space you need to be in.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show that you're willing to help other Native entrepreneurs and other people that are wanting to get the good word out in a good way. And I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. So thank you. Thank you again. Give you another one.
All right.
All right, so I'm here with Ben Begay and this remarkable jewelry that he's got here, these remarkable art creations. And Ben, running Indigenous Media, Indigenous Now, a podcast for entrepreneurs, what I really want to know is, and what I really want our audience, our youth to know as well is, how did you get started? What inspired you? And how did you get here?
Well, I had 10 uncles that taught me how to do the artwork. And they sat me down and they started teaching me how to do the artwork. First, I started out with buffing, and then after that, I got into different levels of the jewelry business, like inlay and silver working and all that stuff like that. So
Okay.
everything I make has a little story with each design that I do. But I don't just work with silver. I work with gold too, like solid gold, opal, turquoise, and gemstones.
Okay.
Yeah. So my jewelry is more fine handmade Navajo jewelry.
Nice. And so you were saying that every single piece of this jewelry here has a story. What are some of more of your notable stories, and are any of those pieces here right now, or are they kind of like locked away in a place where it's special for you?
Well, they're here.
Okay.
They're here.
What are some of the more
So,
remarkable stories you
like
got?
these ones, the diamond is the 4 directions for balance, strength, protection, and harmony for all the diamond shaped ones. Universe rings, they're good energy and good health for the stars and planets. Double arrowhead to the center is shield and protection. And then the Yebiche ring is a healing ring with the face in the middle for healing, with the grizzly paw for strength. I already did the 4 direction. Prosperity is the straight prosperity with the prosperity. And then you have the eagle feather for protection for the prayer fan on these ones like that. And then these ones I do all the stamping with the stamp. And I do a little bit of gemstones, and I do a little bit of turquoise in those. And then these ones I do all the free form of the wax. And I do them in silver or gold too as well. But these are more the heavier rings, the bigger ones, and these are more the lighter rings on the smaller version of the one.
Yeah.
But I work with all the gold, like I do platinum, 18 karat gold, white gold, rose gold, yellow gold, and silver. And then these ones I do a lot of gem setting in these. So you don't see a lot of gemstones in Navajo jewelry, but I do a lot of gemstones.
That's pretty amazing.
So it's more fine handmade Navajo jewelry.
Okay. And so, as far as working with your 10 uncles and stuff, and really starting by buffing and then working your way up to setting these stones and stuff, what's some of your most notable memories working on these as a young person, coming up in this craft?
Well, just learning how to start with I started buffing first, that's shining all the jewelry. But most importantly is the designs, the different designs that you can put into silverware.
Yeah.
And the different style inlays that you can do with the turquoise or the opals. Those are the most desirable designs that I do.
Okay. And so, I know that I work with a lot of youth, right? And the biggest thing for me to do when I'm working with youth is to really leave them with some type of inspiration, some type of motivation. So what would you have to say for anybody that's young, that's starting up, that's going through any challenges or tribulations? What is the positive message that you would have to share with them?
Well, it depends on each person. Each person, I guess, if they're going through hard times and stuff, that's kind of, I don't know, different story, I guess, there. But with me, the way I was brought up is my uncles, they helped me a lot with doing the silver working and all that stuff when I was in high school. And after that, I just more educated myself with doing more beautiful work, clean work, not all and stuff like that, and with the inlay and all the designs.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like family really had your back for the most part. They were really there for you
Yeah, I
when
have
it came
all
to it.
the uncles there to teach me, so.
Yeah. And so,
And then they educate you too, and everything, when you're growing up. Yeah.
yeah. And so through that perseverance, you were able to really perfect your art. I'm looking at a lot of these pieces, and I don't even see any blemishes, pretty much whatsoever.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing is a lot of polished work that anybody would be proud to have. So to that, I have to say, thank you for working on and perfecting your craft. And then also thank you for that message for the youth, even though things may be different, you can always kind of rely on your family, kind of that backing and that support in order to get you through those things.
Yeah, and plus, when you're doing a piece, you put all that positive energy in there, and whoever buys it gets all that positive energy, and like goes down the line,
Right.
So it's comforting to them, and they love it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ben. I really appreciate you, man. I appreciate you being here.
yeah.
I hope for the rest of the powwow, you guys sell out, man. It'd be awesome. So thank you again, man.
yeah.
And then also too, Ben, where can people find you on social media or online or
Well, my
how can they get hold of you?
Instagram page, official Ben Bigay01, and I do Instagram and Facebook on there.
Okay, so Ben Begay01.
Yeah, official
Okay,
Ben Bigay01.
perfect. All right. So if anything, man, I hope you guys sell out. I hope you guys have a beautiful weekend. And thank you again for talking with us. I appreciate it. All right, I'm sitting here with Jacob over at Thunder Voice Co. And man, your guys' stuff has been featured all over the place. Instagram's blowing up. I mean, you guys are just, I mean, for lack of better words, on the warpath, just tearing through social media. And you guys' business seems to be going in a great way. And so I wanted to really kind of learn more about your guys' story, right? About what's been your inspiration and kind of what has gotten you guys to this point thus far, because our main goal is to inspire that next generation to be like you guys. So what has it been, Jake, as far as getting this stuff up and running and going?
Okay. So my brother Lehigh, Thunder Voice, started it as an artist. He just kind of fell into it because he had made a hat and people liked it, so then we're asking him to make hats. And he investigated the way hats are made, saw there's a lot of waste, and I transitioned over to doing vintage hats and reclaiming vintage hats because there's still a lot of value, they last a long time, and then that translated over into kind of how we do things. So we will upcycle clothes. A lot of the way we do it is thinking about the impact we're having for future generations. I know there's a saying about 7 generations,
right?
And for the Dene or the Navajo, we come from my mom, and so she's Navajo. We think in 10 generations, and so the thought is how we impact what we're doing, how it impacts the future, and that's always consciously in our minds when we're making things, when we're developing new products. Part of it also is like the idea of like the social impact, like you're talking about with the young people. We think it's important to be aware that we can do things at a higher standard than other people and still make money. It can be difficult and it's a slower process, but all of our native and indigenous heritage is done that way. If you look at, even here at the powwow with the regalia, some of these things take months to make. People have like outfits that have taken like over a year for all those pieces to be made individually.
Right.
And so there's a beauty in that. We love that idea that you're making something that you are looking at and that you care about, and when you give it to somebody, it has your energy, it has that hope you have for the future, and so that's what we're really trying to focus on. Also, we think it's important that we're able to present ourselves in a way where we're not just a native brand. We are a fashion brand, basically, so we always think in that manner where it's like, how are we elevating fashion? How are we able to present ourselves in a way that changes how people think of fashion? And so we want to be able to fight fast fashion. In fact, we changed our t-shirts because we had some really thin ones that were wearing out really too fast.
Okay.
And so now we focus on having heavyweight shirts, because when I go vintage shopping, I like to find things that are old. I love stuff that, 80s, 70s, 90s.
Right.
And the reason that I can find things like that is because those shirts are durable.
They're made to last.
And they're made to last. And so I would love if in like 15 years, I go to a thrift shop and I find one of our shirts at a thrift shop.
Right.
Like, that would be amazing. I think that would be so cool. So just that idea that this is something that we can keep on having, a conversation that continues, like even with the messaging, that it's a conversation that we're having with the future.
Right. And so you guys have a lot of different messaging, from surviving the American dream here on your shirt right now, to the other graphics that you guys have on your shirts, to the actual prints that you're having and stuff. What's the inspiration behind a lot of the graphics that you use?
So Lehigh, he had an experience going out to Standing Rock, and that really changed the way that he saw what was happening to our people, but also just the world in general. So we believe that all of us are fighting the same fight, fighting for our families, for our communities. That is not something that is only one skin color, that's not only one type of religion, that's not only one nation. All of us as human beings are all working to be able to have our communities be better, if we really think about it. And So that's what these messages are. We feel they're universal. This one, like fighting, surviving the American dream, is this idea that we need to be more introspective about how we are doing things and how it's affecting our communities and our future communities. The designs that you see here, these are reminders of where we come from and what we're carrying forward and how we impact the future. One of our sayings that we reuse a lot is "You are sacred." That's something my mom has always said to us growing up, and we want to pass that on to other people. That as an individual, you are sacred.
Right.
But as human beings, we're sacred, and to treat each other accordingly. And if we can do that, in just small, simple ways, it really makes our communities better. It strengthens us, and we can be able to move forward in the future together.
That's really important, especially moving forward in the future together. I've noticed that you guys have been featured in things like the Grammys and stuff like that too, and that's kind of moving forward in the future with other people that are also utilizing the platforms that they're on to be able to pass along those messages too. How did it make you guys and your brother feel when you guys were featured and stuff like that?
We're really proud.
Yeah.
It makes us feel good. We want to be able to have an impact. We like being able to share our art with people, and ultimately I think as Indigenous people, especially Native Americans, art is really important to us. And if you ever get a chance to come to powwow, you'll see a lot of art. And
Right.
a lot of these dancers, they're wearing art. It's like stuff that if you just can go up and look at it, it's enlivening. It really enriches the spirit.
Right, it's definitely remarkable. I mean, my grandmother, she makes dresses and stuff. I'm from Fort Mojave myself, but my grandmother will make dresses and she'll be spending months on dresses. Sometimes she can turn around a dress in like a week, like things like that. But like the amount of diligent time and effort that it goes into building these dresses out. I mean, you can see the intricate designs and stuff like that. And then also too, the different designs and different artwork belonging to different families and
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
So as far as the artwork that you guys have incorporated, have you guys ran into any situations where you have like specific family art that you're representing?
We try not to be specific about. So on Navajo Nations, there's a lot of rug designs that are specific to families or regions, and we believe that it is important if we're going to utilize those designs that we involve the people that created it or a part of or descended from the creators, because that is respectful.
Right.
And so we don't try. I feel like when we talk about appropriation, even as natives, we can appropriate other natives' designs, other tribes' designs, and we feel like there's enough space at the table for everybody because we all have our own unique designs, and it's good to respect other people's heritage. So like
Right.
designs you see are designs that reference our patterns from our culture, but they're not copies of specific patterns.
Right.
And that's important to us as far as like being able to say this is a reference. If we're copying something directly, it's only because it is not specific to any people or it's any time. Like it doesn't have a specific person that it can be. We don't really do that.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, like, especially in the respect for protocol, especially, in this fight for against, native appropriation, right? We also have to remember not to appropriate each other.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And so kind of seeing the success that you guys have had so far and reaching out to the younger entrepreneurs that are out there, the guys that are thinking they have an idea or they're just trying to start up or anything like that. What's the message that you guys have for those younger entrepreneurs?
So I would say, just remember who you are. Remember where you're coming from. There's space at our table for everybody. So I know that there is this culture of scarcity in the world, and that's not a culture that we come from. Our culture believes in community, that we believe when somebody is in need or in want, we help them out. We have ceremonies and we have certain events where everybody's welcome to come. Everybody eats, everybody gets a gift, and that's because we believe everybody has a place. And like I said, like my mom always said, you are sacred. And if we can let other people know that through our actions, and not be scared to share ourselves with people, I think that's super important. But just we live in abundance, especially within Native tribes, Native communities. We have privileges that other people don't because we have a community around us. We are still here. Like, we literally, people have been trying to kill us off for hundreds of years, and we're still here, and that's because of our communities. So just remember where you come from, and remember that there's always a place at the table for you and for other people.
Man, thank you so much. And then also too, I just want you to let people know where they can find you as far as social media, emails, phone numbers, anything like that that you guys want to share, so that way they can find you and find out where they can get Thunder Voice Co. Products, hats, anything that you guys have.
Perfect. So we're at Thunder Voice Co. on all our socials, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and it's thundervoiceco.com on our website.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much, Jacob.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you guys taking time to do this interview. And man, I really hope and wish you guys the best for the rest of the weekend. And man, can't wait to see you guys again in another powwow.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
All right, brother.
it. Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
All right.